Hello everybody, what's going on? Welcome back north of Highway 2, and today we're at my desk setup. It's been a little while since we've all been here, but we're approaching the end of February, and as a local in northern Minnesota, and specifically on Lake of the Woods, to me, that means it's kind of the close of walleye fishing. I mean, it's hard for me to say that out loud, but kind of my walleye ice fishing season's coming to an end here. I see the end of February, the 1st of March, and I'm looking forward to tip-up fishing for pike and doing a few other activities before ice out. So anyways, on that note, I was reflecting on the last 7 weeks of YouTube and almost 8 weeks now. And I should say just my first year of YouTube. And man, was I grateful. It seemed like everybody really enjoyed all the ice fishing content I put out. I hope everyone liked, just kind of the locals' view of, hopping on your snowmobile, going out to your permanent shack in the evenings, or hooking up to a portable, driving out to the middle of the lake in the afternoons and chasing some walleyes on the big water. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. I got to admit, my YouTube journey was... it was a little unknown. I wasn't sure how this was going to go. I really like spending time behind the camera, and it's been fun getting in front of the camera, and more so just kind of showing people what's going on up in the North Woods. So this is a great place to be. However, what I wanted to do today, in lieu of kind of walleye fishing being done and out of graciousness for everybody watching the ice fishing content, was I wanted to go over a few things that I use gear-wise when I'm out ice fishing. So I'm not going to go like super deep and different places to fish and time of year, stuff like that. I wanted to go over 3 really simple things. First, my rod and reels and the reasons that I use the ones that I do. Second, my lure choices and the bait that I use in my lures too. And then third, my sonar setup. You guys have all seen this if you've watched the ice fishing videos, but I do use a live scope. We'll cover that very last and why I do like using live scope and what makes it so fun. So anyways, let's jump into the gear. So first of all, the main jig and rod that I use in all my YouTube videos, or the videos that you guys have seen, is this one. I use a rod sleeve. I like a rod sleeve. It protects your eyelets of your rods when you just drop it in a bucket. But my main jig and rod is, I'm using right now a Fenwick Eagle 28-inch medium light. The reason I like medium light, I think a lot of people in Lake of the Woods overpower walleyes as far as feel and as far as sensitivity is concerned. I feel like you miss a lot of fish, especially if you're using braid, if you're using too stiff of a rod. So not so much overpower. I just, for success and hookup ratio, I like a nice light rod. I also tip it with a little bit of fluorocarbon. I know it's hard for you guys to see, but I'm using just probably 2 feet of fluorocarbon. Anyways, 28-inch medium light. This is what I'm using for ripping wraps. This is what I'm using for medium-sized spoons. For a large spoon, you might want to look at going to a medium, but again, medium-sized spoons, ripping wraps, any type of jerk bait or any type of ripping bait, this has kind of been my go-to. So here's a little look at the reel seat. I'm using a 20 series Fluger President with 8-pound fire line. This is just a kind of a killer tried and true setup for me. Used it a lot in the past. This is kind of what I gravitated to when I was growing up. So anyways, that's my main jig and rod. Next, another rod that you guys have seen on the channel. This is kind of more recent. You might not have seen this. This maybe hasn't been on the channel. I don't know, I'm thinking about it, but this is my girlfriend Mandy's jig and rod. So Mandy really liked this one because it's got an orange tip. This here is the 13 Fishing Widowmaker, and this is also in a medium light 28-inch blank. That's kind of a happy medium size for me. It seems to go really well in a permanent house, in a portable, not too long, not too short. It seems like it has enough backbone. It's kind of a winning combination for me. But again, 13 Fishing Widowmaker. It's got the nice soft orange tip on it. Really nice smooth action. It does have a lot of backbone. You can see it's got a pretty progressive bend at the end. But Mandy really likes this rod. It's a good size for her. She likes the long reel seat. She says it balances out really nice. She does hold the reel kind of back here a little more every once in a while, so I'm assuming that's why. But again, Widowmaker, 13 Fishing's Widowmaker, 28-inch blank. This is also Fluger President 20 series. This has the Fireline Micro Ice 8-pound. It's just a little bit different color. I'll let Mandy kind of pick out all this stuff. This is what she went towards. So anyways, there's the rod combination for Mandy. That's her main jigging rod. And then what I'm using for a bobber rod, and I'm going to switch right to lures here, is I'm using another medium light 28-inch blank. This is a Fenwick Atos. So what I really like about this rod specifically is, again, it's a lot like that 13 Fishing Widowmaker. It's got a lot of backbone, but a really nice progressive bend at the beginning. That just, it seems like when you're using this for bobber fishing, you can see I've got it rigged up with a slip bobber here. It seems like it's just really easy to ease into the hook set. And then, I mean, immediately have backbone. So anyways, this is the rod that I really like to use for bobber fishing. Fenwick Atos, 28-inch, medium light. Again, Pflueger President, 20 series. Just kind of a tried and true reel for me for ice fishing. It's been real good. 8-pound fire line. And this is tipped with about, 18 inches of fluorocarbon. So let's transition into what I'm using for lures. So 2 things. Dead stick. I'm pretty much always fishing with a bobber. This year I've used this slip bobber setup. It hasn't been my favorite. I'm gonna go back to the traditional just yellow Thule slip bobber system. That just seems to work the best. I've got a bead and a good size split shot, and as you can see here, I am using a plain hook. So on Lake of the Woods, especially later in the year when the fish are getting a little bit more finicky, and early February, middle February, kind of the time of the year it is now, I have had a lot of success with the plain hook and just the red bead. Seems to be just kind of a winning combination. I like to hook my bait. I'll talk about bait here at the end, but I like to hook my bait kind of through the tail up towards the head. It seems like it gives the minnow a pretty good swimming action. But my dead stick baits, I'm either using a plain hook. This is a Gamakatsu octopus hook in number 2. The other thing I like to use when I'm dead sticking, that's all the rods I'm using. But the other thing I like to use when I'm dead sticking is, I'll give you a little flash of my tackle box here. I've got a clam tackle box with the foam. It's all waterproof. I've been really impressed with this year. It's been really nice. But I like to use just a really simple, gosh, I don't even know what the actual name of this is, but this shape of bait for a dead stick or a Gemini with either glow red or glow white. I don't know exactly what weight this is. I'd say it's maybe an 1/8 ounce. But man, this has been killer for me. Glow red's been really, really good this year. So I'm usually using one of these or the plain hook. I don't stray too far away from those 2 things usually. So, okay, back on the baits. With my jigging rods, on Lake of the Woods growing up, I was pretty much always using like a large gold spoon or a large silver spoon. A couple popular ones would be like the Williams Wobbler, a Sutton spoon, the Johnson spoon. I was always pretty much using one of those large spoons. And over the last, probably 10 years since I went to college, I've really transitioned to more colorful, like bright pink spoons or white. I've got some Wonder Bread in here. Or I'm using a ripping style bait. So the first kind of like a ripping style bait that came out was a jig and wrap. I mean, maybe there was a few more before that, but the one I remember the most is a jig and wrap. So I don't use jig and wraps a ton now, but what I do use is I use 2 versions of Rapla's ripping baits right now, and I'm using either a slab wrap, which, let me get this pink one out of here. I'm using either a slab wrap, which is these up here, and these 2 Fire Tigers. This gold Fire Tiger is one of my favorite colors this year. Or I'm using a traditional rip and wrap, which is like this. You can see they're just a little bit shorter and a little bit taller, like this pink one or like this perch one down here. And here's a good look at a variety of the different kinds of spoons I'm using here. I'm talking pink, Wonder Bread. These are all clam spoons. I've got some pinheads up here. Had some good luck on pinheads. The JB Lures Weasel, that's also a good one. Here's some more stuff from, or no, is that JB or JR's? Yeah, JB. And then here's some more spoons that I bought with Mandy in a thrift store mission to Badette. But anyways, that's kind of the baits I'm using. I'm pretty much primarily using a ripping style bait now, slab wraps. Again, Glow Fire Tiger. I had a lot of luck on this purple and pink one with the yellow head, especially early in the year. But that's kind of what I'm using for baits. Now, if we're talking bait, In the winter time, I'm pretty much always using fathead minnows or some sort of chub. When I'm using it on a ripping style bait, I'm using just the head and I'm putting it on the back hook. I think that there's a lot of opinions on this, but I think that the slab style bait, or the slab wrap specifically, with the bait hooked on the back hook, just swims a little bit better. It seems like it has a little bit more forward motion, and I like the forward, when you rip it up and it drops, it's got a little bit more forward motion. I like that. Personal preference. A lot of people hook them on the front. My neighbor over here, Matt, I think he hooks them on the front. I'll have to double check. But anyways, I'm always hooking the fat heads on the back hook. And then with a spoon, same thing. I'm always using the fat head. I'm hooking it on the one hook, on the treble hook, and I'm only ever using the head. I'm always pinching off the head. So then on the dead stick baits, like I was saying with the bare hook, pretty much always using a full live minnow, and pretty much always hooking it kind of back from the it wouldn't be the what is that? Not the caudal fin. It's just the primary dorsal fin, kind of from just behind the dorsal fin and then up towards the head of the hook, or excuse me, up towards the head of the minnow. That's pretty much my go-to setup for minnows, no matter what type of dead style bait I'm using. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I just thought I'd give you a little sneak peek at what kind of rods, what kind of bait setups, and then finally what kind of sonar setup I'm using. I don't have a picture of the sonar setup I use with me, but I'm using the Garmin LSV93 with the 34 series transducer on my live scope, LVS 34. I mean, it's hard to beat. Panoptics is just good. No matter if you have Lowrance or Humminbird or Garmin's version, Panoptics is just good. It makes fishing fun. It makes it really interactive. It's cool when you're fishing, two people in a portable house. You can see both baits, and it just adds a little bit more fun factor to ice fishing, which is already a really good time. But if I'm not using Panoptics, I do have a Vexar. I'm using an FLX 28. Using that with just all auto zoom settings. Lake of the Woods is pretty easy. If you're fishing on structure, zoom kind of gets you in trouble. If you're fishing on structure and you've got a big rock and you can't really see your baits, a lot of times you're just best off moving. But anyways, that's kind of my gear setups. Again, everybody, thank you so much for watching the ice fishing content this year. It's been so fun just kind of getting started with YouTube. And the goal of this channel is to show what I like about living north of Highway 2 and what I like about northern Minnesota. And one of the things is just ice fishing. So I'm looking forward to a variety of more content coming up the rest of the year. And, again, everyone, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope everyone has a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.